Welcome to the ultimate guide for navigating the bewildering, maddening, and downright repetitive world of the death loop. You've stumbled upon this video because you, like many before you, have found yourself caught in a time loop so infuriating that it makes Groundhog Day look like a walk in the park. But fear not, brave soul, for you've come to the right place. I'm here to arm you with 10 tips to survive the death loop, a survival guide that's equal parts strategy, psychology, and sheer, unadulterated cheek. Imagine waking up every day to the same song on the alarm clock, spilling the same coffee on the same shirt, and meeting the same untimely demise at the hands of fate's cruel sense of humor. Sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? Well, it's reality for those of us caught in the loop. But who says reality can't be hacked, tweaked, or outright bamboozled? In this guide, we're diving headfirst into the chaos. We'll explore the art of accepting your looped fate without losing your mind or your sense of humor, mastering the environments you're doomed to repeat, and making allies in the most unlikely places. From wearing your underwear on the outside to perfecting the most respectful way to tell a dragon, "Please don't eat me," we've got you covered. So, buckle up, grab your notepad, because let's face it, you'll forget. And prepare to laugh in the face of temporal doom. Deathloop survivors, it's time to turn your endless nightmare into an endless adventure. Let's break the cycle together, or at the very least, have a blast trying. Tip 1. Acceptance is key. Hugging the absurdity bear. Strap in, loop dwellers. Welcome to the bizarre roller coaster that is the death loop. If you find yourself asking, "Why me?" while dodging the same pigeon shitting on your shoulder at precisely 8:03 a.m. every damn day, you've stumbled into the right existential crisis. Acceptance is the name of the game here, folks. Not the warm, fuzzy kind that comes with a group hug, but the kind where you realize you're in the shit and decide to tango with it. Here's the skinny. You're in a loop. Not the fun kind with fruit and cereal, but the kind where no matter what you do, you end up back at square one, usually post-explosion or pre-mortem embarrassment. Accepting this isn't about kissing your ass goodbye. It's about puckering up to the madness and deciding you're going to be the best damn looper since Bill Murray. Step 1 to embracing this Groundhog Day from hell is to laugh. Yes, fucking laugh. You tripped over that crack in the sidewalk and face-planted in front of your crush. Again? Hilarious. You accidentally called your boss mom for the 157th time? Comedy gold. The universe is punking you, my friend. The least you can do is give it the courtesy of acknowledging its twisted sense of humor. Next up, throw a mental party for one. Confetti is optional but highly recommended. Celebrate the fact that, unlike everyone else, you get do-overs. Screwed up that presentation? There's always tomorrow, which is actually today, but who's counting? The key here is to lean into the lunacy. Start seeing each repeat as a chance to perfect your sarcasm, refine your eye rolling, and maybe even invent a new cocktail. Call it the déjà brew. Now, let's talk strategy. Accepting your looped fate means you're ready to exploit it. Ever wanted to learn the banjo? Perfect your soufflé skills? Now's the time. Who gives a rat's ass if you're terrible? Tomorrow, you're Mozart with a mixing bowl. The loop is your oyster, and it's serving up endless opportunities for you to shuck. Finally, use this loop to become the Zen master you never knew you needed. Each reset is a chance to practice your chill. Miss the bus? It'll be back. Spilled coffee on your shirt? Consider it a new fashion trend. By the time you break free from this temporal glitch, you'll be so zen, Buddha will be sliding into your DMs for tips. In short, my fellow time-trapped travelers, acceptance isn't just the first step. It's your entry ticket to the wildest ride of your life. Embrace the absurdity, laugh in the face of repetition, and remember, if at first you don't succeed, loop and loop again. All right, let's buckle up for tip 2 of our tips to survive the death loop, where we dive deep into the art of mapping your day. Because, let's face it, navigating a death loop without a plan is like trying to assemble IKEA furniture blindfolded and drunk. A recipe for disaster, and possibly a broken toe. Tip 2. Map Your Day, or How to Not Die for Dummies. In the labyrinthine madness of the death loop, knowledge is not just power. It's your bloody lifeline. Think of your loop as the world's most sadistic video game. You've got unlimited lives, sure, but you're playing on hardcore mode. One hit, and it's game over. Start from scratch. So, it's time to get smart and start charting your Groundhog Day like Magellan on steroids. First off, grab yourself a notebook. Not a digital one because, surprise, electronics tend to get a bit loopy. Go old school with pen and paper and start jotting down everything. And I mean everything. That lady who spills her latte on you at 9:15 a.m. sharp, note it down. The pigeon that's out for your blood at 8:03 a.m. That feathered fiend gets a special mention. Now you might be asking, why the hell do I need to document my daily humiliations? Ah, young grasshopper, because in the patterns, you'll find the loopholes. Maybe if you take a left instead of a right, you avoid the latte catastrophe altogether. Or perhaps wearing a hat is the key to thwarting Pigeon the assassin. This is your chance to turn the tables, to become the architect of your fate instead of its punching bag. As you fill your death loop diary, you'll start noticing the cracks in the matrix. These are your golden tickets, the glitches in the system you can exploit. Maybe sleeping in an extra 5 minutes means you miss the bus that's destined to crash. Or perhaps it's your choice of cereal that determines whether you have a good day or end up accidentally starting World War III. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Resist the urge to use your loop knowledge for evil. Sure, you could rob a bank, knowing you'll wake up clean the next day. But let's not forget, the universe has a twisted sense of humor. And karma? Well, she's a bitch with an excellent memory. In conclusion, mapping your day is about transforming from a clueless victim into a cunning survivor. It's about finding joy in the little victories, like successfully dodging that homicidal pigeon or finally making it through the day without a single latte stain on your shirt. Embrace the loop, learn its secrets, and who knows, maybe you'll find a way to break free. Or at least, have a hell of a story to tell. Stay tuned for Tip 3, where we'll explore the fine art of experimenting with outcomes. Because in the death loop, insanity isn't doing the same thing over and over again. It's not trying every batshit crazy idea you can think of. Tip 3. Experiment with outcomes. The wild scientist approach. Welcome back to our Death Loop Survival Guide, where the motto is live, die, repeat, and for fuck's sake, mix it up a bit. This tip is dedicated to the fine art of experimenting with outcomes. Because, let's face it, doing the same shit over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And while being a tad unhinged might be a prerequisite for surviving a death loop, we prefer our madness with a side of method. Picture yourself as a mad scientist, but instead of Frankenstein's monster, you're tinkering with the fabric of your day. Got killed by a rogue toaster yesterday? Today, throw that sucker out the window. Just watch for innocent bystanders. We're not aiming for a manslaughter loop. Each day is a chance to poke the bear of fate with a very long metaphorical stick. Start with something simple, like breakfast. Ever wondered if choosing pancakes over cereal could prevent the apocalypse? Now's your chance to find out. Change one small thing each loop and document the butterfly effect it unleashes. Who knew that opting for decaf could be the key to avoiding being squashed by a runaway bus? Dress like a clown, go goth, or wear your clothes backward. Disrupt the loop's fashion sense and see if it throws off the universe's game. At worst, you'll die in style. At best, you'll discover the loop has a dress code, and adherence is mandatory for survival. Next, experiment with your interactions. Confess undying love to the barista, start a flash mob in the office, or finally tell your neighbor their garden gnome collection is an unholy terror. Watch as the ripples of your social experimentations alter the course of events, hopefully in a way that doesn't end with you under a bus again. Remember, each change is like flapping the wings of a chaos butterfly. Too little, and nothing changes. Too much, and you might just accidentally start a cult devoted to garden gnomes. Find that sweet spot where the universe goes, wait, What the fuck? And suddenly you're not dying in that elevator accident at 3 p.m. A word of caution. Experimenting with outcomes can lead to some unexpected results. You might find yourself elected mayor of a town you've never heard of, or married to that barista you confessed to on a whim. The key is to roll with the punches and keep detailed notes. After all, knowledge is power, especially when you're stuck in a cosmic do-over. So, my fellow loopers, put on your lab coats and start messing with the formula. The death loop doesn't stand a chance against a determined experimenter with nothing to lose and infinite tries to get it right. Or at least, to not get it as catastrophically wrong. Stay tuned for Tip 4, where we'll dive into the art of mastering your timing, because in a death loop, timing isn't just everything. It's the only thing. Tip 4. Mastering your timing. The chronological cha-cha. Time. In the grand tapestry of the death loop, it's both your cruel mistress and your drunken dance partner. Mastering your timing is akin to learning the cha-cha in a minefield. One wrong step, and it's boom, back to the start. But fear not, for I'm here to guide you through the rhythmic explosions with a grace only slightly less dignified than a three-legged giraffe on roller skates. Timing is everything. Get up too early, and you're the first pancake. Always fucked. Too late, and you've missed your chance to influence the day's events. Like trying to catch a train that's already splattered your remains across the tracks yesterday. The trick is to find that sweet spot, the moment where your actions can turn the tide without turning you into tide marks, in a world where every second could be your last. Again. Keeping track of time becomes a matter of life and death, and life and death. If you don't own a watch, now's the time to borrow one. And by borrow, I mean select the shiniest timepiece from yesterday's loot. You'll be resetting the day anyway. Ethics become flexible when you're stuck in temporal limbo. Now hear me out. Procrastination isn't just for term papers and tax returns. In the death loop, putting things off until later can be a strategic move. That bus squashing you flat at 8:15 a.m.? What if you just didn't go out? Instead, spend the morning learning origami, or better yet, perfecting the art of making breakfast without setting the kitchen on fire. Sometimes, doing nothing is doing something, especially if it keeps you alive. For those moments when action is unavoidable, punctuality becomes your sharpest weapon. Need to save someone from a grisly fate at 2 p.m.? Be there at 1:59, with bells on. Bells optional. Running shoes recommended. Being on time in a death loop isn't about good manners. It's about not being dead. Or, at the very least, not being dead again. Embrace the déjà vu. Use the knowledge of your past, doomed attempts to time your actions like a conductor with an orchestra of disaster. The more loops you endure, the better you'll become at predicting and manipulating the outcomes. It's like being a psychic, but with a very niche specialty and a significantly higher mortality rate. Practice makes perfect. Or at least, not dead. Lastly, remember, the death loop is the ultimate practice ground. Screwed up today? No worries. You've got a mulligan. Use each loop to refine your timing, hone your instincts, and maybe learn to tango through the minefield with a bit more elegance. And who knows? With enough practice, you might just dance your way out of the loop entirely. So, there you have it, time warriors. Sharpen your wits, set your watches, and get ready to do the chronological cha-cha. With a bit of luck and a lot of timing, you'll be stepping out of the death loop and into a future where the only loops you have to worry about are the ones in your shoelaces. Tip 5. Seek allies. The buddy system on steroids. In the great tapestry of time fuckery known as the death loop, going solo is about as smart as juggling hand grenades with their pins pulled. You need allies, comrades, a partner in crime, someone to share in the existential dread and maybe help figure out a way to not die before lunchtime. Again. Convincing someone you're stuck in a death loop is a bit like trying to sell oceanfront property in Arizona. It sounds nuts. But here's the thing. You've got to sell it like you're the Wolf of Wall Street of time loops. Rehearse your pitch, make it compelling, sprinkle in a bit of drama, Hell, bring PowerPoint into the mix if you must. Ladies and gentlemen, have I got an opportunity for you? Just remember, credibility is key. Maybe leave out the part where you cried over a spilled latte for an hour. Not everyone is cut out for the high-stakes world of loop living. You need someone with a certain je ne sais quoi. The kind of person who doesn't blink at the impossible, who'd high-five a ghost or arm-wrestle a demon. Someone who, when you say, "I'm reliving the same day and I die a lot," doesn't immediately book you a one-way trip to the nearest psych ward. Once you've got your willing, or mildly coerced ally, it's time to lay down some ground rules. Number 1, no freaking out. There's enough existential panic to go around without adding to it. Number 2, be ready for anything. Alien invasion at 2 p.m., standard Tuesday. And number 3, always have each other's backs. Because when you accidentally insult a dragon's mother in Dragonese, you'll want someone there to help smooth talk your way out of becoming barbecue. Now comes the fun part, the training montage. You and your newfound ally back to back, taking on the loop's challenges. Think Rocky, but with more existential dread and less boxing. You'll laugh, you'll cry. You'll probably die a few times. But with each loop, you'll grow stronger, wiser, and maybe a little weirder. Use your collective knowledge to experiment, to test the boundaries of your loopy prison. 2 heads are better than 1, especially when it comes to solving the cosmic puzzle that's got you both doing the time warp. Who knows? Maybe your buddy's offhand comment about hating Tuesdays is the key to breaking the cycle. In the end, finding an ally in the death loop isn't just about survival. It's about sanity. It's finding laughter in the ludicrous, hope in the hopeless, and maybe, just maybe, a way out of the loop. Because let's face it, eternity is a lot less daunting when you don't have to face it alone. So, there you have it, loopers. Rally your squad, form your time-traveling fellowship, and tackle the loop head-on. Together, you're not just survivors. You're a force of nature. A duo, or trio, or quartet, to be reckoned with. And who knows, in the process of breaking the loop, you might just forge friendships that last a lifetime. However long that turns out to be. Tip 6. Avoid fatalism. The fine art of not giving a fuck. Welcome to the paradoxical paradox of our Death Loop Survival Guide, where we delve into the profound philosophical doctrine of avoid fatalism, or as we like to call it, mastering the art of not giving a single, solitary fuck. Yes, you're trapped in a time loop, dying more often than a Game of Thrones character. But who says you can't have a bit of fun with it? First off, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. You're stuck in a cosmic joke with a punchline that keeps looping back on itself. Once you accept that, everything else is gravy. Or at least, as close to gravy as existential crises can get. Every loop is a chance to say, well, fuck it. Let's see what happens if I do this. Wear a tutu to a board meeting. Start a conga line in the supermarket. The world is your oyster, and you're the pearl, baby. Now, on to achieving Zen in the loop. This isn't your garden variety mindfulness crap. This is about finding inner peace amidst the chaos of repeated, violent, often hilarious death. Find joy in the little things. The way the sun reflects off the skyscraper before you accidentally trigger a Rube Goldberg machine of disaster, or the sweet melody of the ice cream truck moments before it explodes. Again. Death got you down. Pfft. Make it your bitch. You know that bus that squashes you at 8:15 a.m.? Wave at it as it passes by while you safely sip your coffee from the other side of the road. Turn your inevitable demises into a game. Award yourself points for creativity, style, and flair. Who says you can't go out with a bang and a score of 10 out of 10? Laugh in its face. When the universe throws you a curveball, throw back a knuckleball of humor. Trapped in a bank robbery? Offer the robbers financial advice. About to be devoured by a mutant sewer alligator. Compliment its scales. It's hard to feel fatalistic when you're too busy cracking jokes and testing the limits of absurdity. Remember, fatalism is the belief that all events are predetermined and therefore inevitable. But in a death loop, inevitable has the shelf life of an avocado. So, flip the script. Predetermination, more like predetermined fun. Every loop is a chance to rewrite the narrative, to turn what was once inevitable into something laughably avoidable. To wrap this up with a neat little bow made of defiance and a healthy dose of nihilism. Avoiding fatalism is about refusing to let the loop dictate your mood. It's about owning your existence, even if that existence is currently a bit loopier than most. So, chuckle at your misfortunes, waltz with danger, and remember, in a world where death is but a temporary inconvenience, nothing is truly fatal. Tip 7. Wear heat-resistant clothing, dressing for unsuccess. Step right up, loopers, to the latest fashion trend sweeping the Deathloop demographic, heat-resistant clothing. Because nothing says, "I've been through the eternal hellfire and back," quite like a chic ensemble that screams survivalist meets catwalk. In this tip, we're diving into the wardrobe essentials that'll keep you from becoming a crispy critter or the unfortunate star of a spontaneous combustion YouTube compilation. First on our must-have list is the classic fireproof jumpsuit. Picture this. It's sleek, it's fitted, and it comes in an array of colors designed to camouflage you against various incendiary deaths. Walking through a field of fire, the charred chic black model has you covered. About to be blasted by dragon breath? Smoky sunset offers that perfect blend of style and not dying. No outfit is complete without accessories, and in the Deathloop, these can literally be lifesavers. Fireproof gloves for those hot dates, with actual fire. Heat-resistant boots because hot coals are so last loop. And of course, the pièce de résistance, a flame-retardant hat. Because nothing says, "I'm too cool to combust," quite like headwear that doubles as a fire extinguisher. Let's talk statement pieces. In a world where every day might be your last, again, why not make a splash? LED-infused fireproof capes for that nighttime flair. Reflective belts, great for making sure you're seen or blinding your enemies with fashion. And, for the truly daring, a fireproof tie. Because business casual doesn't have to mean boring. Even when you're negotiating with a pyromaniac, practicality is key. Pockets, you'll want plenty. Where else are you going to stash your loop diary, your time-warped smartphone, and the dozen or so survival gadgets you've picked up along the way? And let's not forget about ventilation. Just because you're fireproof doesn't mean you don't get hot under the collar. Built-in cooling systems are all the rage in the loop survivor circles. Feeling crafty? Why not DIY your Deathloop wardrobe? A bit of fireproof material, some sewing skills, thanks, YouTube tutorials, and a dash of creativity, and you're on your way to becoming the Vera Wang of the apocalypse. Plus, it's a great way to pass the time between untimely demises. In the end, wearing heat-resistant clothing in the Deathloop isn't just about survival. It's about making a statement. It's about staring down the barrel of an inferno and saying, "Not today, Flames. I've got a lunch date." So, dress to impress, loopers. Impress your enemies, impress your allies, but, most importantly, impress yourself. Because, in the Deathloop, every day is a chance to redefine who you are and how fabulous you can look doing it. Stay tuned for Tip 8, where we'll explore the importance of always having an escape plan, because when fashion can't save you, a well-timed exit just might. Tip 8. Always have an escape plan. The GTFO protocol. Loopers, welcome to your crash course in the GTFO protocol, an essential tip in the How to Survive a Deathloop Without Losing Your Shit handbook. Because let's face it, when you're stuck in a cosmic replay where every day potentially ends with you as the universe's punchline, having an A, B, and C escape plan isn't just smart. It's essential for keeping your sanity and your limbs intact. 1. The blueprint of desperation. Your escape plan starts with a blueprint. Not the kind architects drool over, but a mental map of your daily loop death trap. Know the ins, outs, and potential oh shit corners of your surroundings. Are you dying in a cafe every Tuesday? Time to memorize where the emergency exits are, or, better yet, find a new spot for your caffeine fix. Preferably one without the Grim Reaper as a regular. 2. Diversify your portfolio. In the high-stakes game of Deathloop dodging, putting all your eggs in one basket is about as clever as trying to toast bread in a bathtub. Diversify your escape routes. If Plan A involves sprinting through the front door, make sure Plan B involves backflipping out a window. And Plan C? That's your wild card, baby. Ever ridden a unicycle? No time like a death loop to start. 3. The art of distraction. Sometimes, the best escape plan involves a little sleight of hand. Maybe you've noticed that every time you spill your drink, it buys you a few precious seconds. Great, start carrying a super soaker filled with coffee. It's all about creating openings where there were none, using whatever bizarre tactics the loop throws your way. 4. Tools of the trade. No self-respecting looper steps into the fray without their trusty toolkit. I'm not talking hammers and screwdrivers, unless that's your jam. I'm talking about items that scream, "I refuse to go quietly." Smoke bombs, rollerblades, a cloak of invisibility if you can swing it. Whatever fits into your GTFO and live strategy. 5. Rehearsal, rehearsal, rehearsal. The beauty of a death loop? You get do-overs. Use them. Practice your escape plan like it's a Broadway debut. Each loop is a dress rehearsal for the grand performance of Not Dying Today, Thank You. Learn the timing, the movements, the exact moment to deploy your coffee-soaked super soaker. 6. The psychological warfare. Here's the kicker. Confidence is key. You've got to believe in your escape plan with the kind of fervor usually reserved for cult leaders. Even if inside you're a bundle of nerves, outwardly you must project the unshakable calm of a monk on tranquilizers. Your demeanor can be the difference between escaping and becoming a tragic footnote in the universe's cosmic joke book. In conclusion, mastering your escape plan, the GTFO protocol, isn't just about physical preparation. It's a mental game. It's about outsmarting the loop, outmaneuvering fate, and outrunning death itself. So loopers, lace up those sneakers, fill up that super soaker, and let's turn inevitable demise into not today universe. Stay tuned for the next tip, where we'll dive into the fine art of carrying a shield, because sometimes you can't outrun your problems, but you sure as hell can block them. Tip 9. Carry a shield, because oops happens. Alright, esteemed members of the Deathloop Survivors Anonymous, grab your notepads or whatever you've been using to jot down these pearls of wisdom because we're diving into the life-saving, day-repeating, and hilariously practical world of shield carrying. Yes, you heard that right. In the looping universe where every day might end with an unexpected oh shit moment, having a shield isn't just medieval chic, it's your personal oops protector. The shield. Your personal buffer against fate. Think of your shield as that overly cautious friend who double-checks if the stove is off, even when you haven't cooked in a week. It's there to protect you from those random acts of the universe that seem hell-bent on turning your loop into a slapstick comedy of errors. Tripped over a rock and heading face-first into a bear trap? Shield. Random arrow from a neighboring time loop headed your way? Shield. It's not just armor. It's your personal bubble wrap. Choosing your shield. It's all in the vibes. Picking the right shield is less about the specs and more about the vibes. You want something that says, yes, I'm stuck in a cosmic rerun, but I'm also stylish and prepared. Whether it's emblazoned with a meme that only makes sense on the 43rd Tuesday of the year, or it's just really, really shiny, make sure it resonates with your loop persona. After all, if you're going to face the same deadly mishap day in, day out, you might as well look good dodging it. The art of shielding. Not just for knights. Now, wielding a shield in a manner that doesn't end with you accidentally knocking yourself out requires finesse. It's like dancing, but instead of cutting a rug, you're avoiding the Grim Reaper's scythe. Practice your moves. Learn the graceful art of the sidestep, the duck and cover, and the ever-popular oh hell no spin. Your shield isn't just a defensive tool. It's an accessory to your daily performance in the theater of the absurd. The psychological edge. Intimidate your loop. Your shield does more than just protect you from physical harm. It sends a message to the universe and its loop-inducing shenanigans. It says, I'm on to you, and I'm not taking this lying down. Unless I'm sunbathing on a beach that magically appeared in my living room. Then, all bets are off. Your shield is a symbol of your refusal to be cowed by the cosmic loop. It's your defiance made manifest. DIY. Because, why not? Feeling crafty? Personalize that bad boy. Strap on some LED lights for those nighttime loops. Attach a horn to signal your displeasure at unnecessary reruns. Heck, make it multifunctional. A shield by day, a beer pong table by night. Remember, in a world where tomorrow is always today, your shield is your canvas. Paint it with the colors of your resilience. In conclusion, embrace your inner shield bearer. So as we wrap up this tip, remember, carrying a shield in the death loop is about more than just survival. It's about making a statement, owning your loop, and sometimes just giving fate the middle finger while you enjoy a little extra protection. After all, when life gives you temporal anomalies, make anomaly aid. And always carry a shield. Stay tuned for our final tip, where we bring it all home with the ultimate tip that might just see you breaking the loop, or at the very least, laughing in its face. Because, dear loopers, if you can't beat 'em, shield 'em. Tip 10. Stay calm. Your mind is the best weapon. We've journeyed through the quagmire of time loops, danced with danger, flirted with fate, and now we arrive at our final tip, an ethos to guide you through the cyclical chaos. Stay calm. Your mind is the best weapon. Yes, amidst the absurdity, the frustration, and the repeated deaths, the key to surviving and ultimately breaking the death loop lies within the tranquil realms of your mind. First off, let's get one thing straight. Panicking is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube with your feet. Messy, unproductive, and frankly, a bit ridiculous. The loop feeds on your fear, your stress, and your tendency to scream, "fuck," at inanimate objects. Instead, embrace the zen. Each loop is a chance to reset not just the day, but your approach to it. Breathe in, breathe out, and let the calm wash over you like a sitcom laugh track, unnecessary but oddly comforting. Your mind is your dojo, and each loop is a sparring match. Train it, meditate, practice mindfulness, or just spend 10 minutes visualizing your happy place, which, by now, might be anywhere but here. Cultivate a mental agility that lets you dodge life's curveballs, or in this case, death balls, with the grace of a caffeinated cat. The sharper your mind, the clearer your path through the loop's madness. There's power in laughter, the kind that bubbles up when everything's gone tits up, and you're left wondering whether to cry or cackle. Choose laughter. Let it be your rebellion against the loop's attempts to grind you down. Find humor in the absurdity, the predictability, and even in your mistakes. It's not just a coping mechanism, it's your war cry. Be like a duck, calm on the surface but paddling like hell underneath. To the loop, you're unflappable, cruising through each repeat with a serene smile. But beneath that calm exterior, your mind is a whirlwind of strategy, observation, and relentless determination. You're not passively accepting the loop. You're actively plotting its demise. Remember, the loop is but a tip in your story, not the entire book. Shift your perspective. See each repeat as an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow. You're not just surviving. You're collecting the pieces of a puzzle that, when solved, leads to your liberation. And so, dear loopers, we conclude our guide with a call to arms, or more accurately, a call to minds. In the battle against the death loop, your mind is your most potent weapon, your calmness a shield, and your humor a sword. Cultivate them, wield them wisely, and remember, the loop may have your body, but your mind is yours and yours alone. It's there you'll find the key to breaking free. Thank you for embarking on this journey through tips to survive the death loop with us. Remember, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more guides on navigating the peculiar, perilous, and downright puzzling aspects of existence. Stay calm, stay clever, and above all, stay laughing. Until next time, may your loops be enlightening and your escapes successful. And there we have it. Fellow time loopers and eternal day repeaters, the grand finale to our epic journey through the perplexing, often hilarious world of surviving the death loop. We've navigated the treacherous waters of acceptance, danced through the flames of experimentation, and armed ourselves with shields of both the literal and metaphorical variety. Together, we've laughed in the face of repetition, learned to see our endless cycle not as a curse, but as a playground of possibilities. Remember, whether you're dodging death by toaster or trying to convince a skeptical friend that, yes, you really are reliving the same day over and over again, the key to breaking free, or at least to not losing your sanity along the way, lies within. It's in your ability to adapt, to find humor in the absurd, and above all, to keep pushing forward, armed with the knowledge that each loop is a chance to try something new, to learn, and to grow. So, as we close this tip on our 10 tips to survive the death loop, I want to thank you for joining me on this wild ride. If you've found yourself nodding along, laughing, or even feeling a spark of hope, then my work here is done, until the loop resets and we do it all over again. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed our journey through the loop. Subscribe to Cryptid Whisperer for more guides, tips, and tales from the fringes of reality. And hit that notification bell, because in a world where tomorrow is always today, you won't want to miss what comes next. Thank you, brave souls, for listening, for laughing, and for looping. May your days be merry, your loops be enlightening, and may you find your way to the exit, armed with a little more wisdom and a lot more wit. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, in the loop of life, you're the one holding the pen. Write your own story, make it a good one, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find your way out. Farewell for now. And remember, we're all in this loop together.